be up to speed. Today we're going to finish up the personality disorders and do the somatic symptom and related disorders, so we'll do that piece today. And it's probably take us till about 3:30, but it may be sooner. It just depends on how it all kind of plays out. After that, I'm going to go over the SBIRT thing with y'all, because I don't think you've gotten anything yet on SBIRT FEMA. So I'm going to give you all of the information that you will have available today, so you can kind of look at it and think about it, because I think it's actually a little more difficult one than the last time. So we'll go over it, just kind of go over the whole thing, and maybe talk about how you might want to approach it and think about what you're going to do, so that that's kind of out of the way. The more there's a mystery to it, I think the harder it is to actually conceptualize what you do when you go into the room. So I kind of want that out of the way, because I only want you to just focus on how you might actually do what you need to do, not worry about what do I need to do and then how do I do it. I really kind of want you to worry about how do you do what we already agreed you need to do when you get in there, okay? And I think that'll work out better. And that's what the activity is about anyway. I've also asked Dr. Latassi to come in here a little bit later today, and we're going to actually, I've asked her to kind of sketch out a case or two, just very free form, really on how to start SSRIs. If you haven't figured out anything, you will realize that that's a big category of use all across the board. And so we're just going to kind of go through how do you think about starting, because it's something that a PA will probably do in practice, is be involved in starting SSRIs. It is not likely that you're going to be diagnosing schizophrenia per se or starting antipsychotics. You might be identifying people who are in trouble and then coordinating with those who do it. You will get a bunch of people who are on antipsychotic medications as part of their disorder in a primary care setting, and you'll need to understand what they can do and what they can do good and bad. So that will be a big part of it. So I really want us to focus more on looking at using SSRIs because they have wide use, and to kind of think about it. And I think if you have that skill and knowledge in your mind, it's more functionally useful, you know, right off the get-go. I'm not asking you not to know all this stuff or work with it, but I'm just kind of wanting to get into the practicality, what's the most practical thing. So we'll look at that, and then if y'all want to ask any other questions about stuff you can do now. I have not posted learning objectives yet for autism yesterday, but I'll keep it tight. I'm not going to have it be too far out, because really it's a wide-ranging disorder and kind of complex. I want you to understand what it is and some of the basic maneuvers with it. If you can do that, I'll be satisfied. Tomorrow there are 3 presentations, really 8 to 11. The first one is binge eating disorder. I will tell you from right now, I am not going to test on any of that on this exam. We've already talked about eating disorders and had a little bit of definition about binge eating disorder. This really is to kind of enrich. It's an opportunity that we had to have somebody come and talk to us a little bit more about it. It's kind of an emerging entity. It's not that well appreciated, but it's beginning to kind of take shape. So a lot of it's going to be about presentation, what people look like, what they think is going on, some involvement with treatment, but it's not real clear yet exactly what needs to be done or what's going on with those folks. I do want you to be here to hear it, but you don't have to worry about what is it. You know, it's there. It's a freebie, but it's actually kind of an interesting one that we've added. And so it is part of the course in the curriculum, but it adds depth in an area that we really didn't get a lot of depth in. But I think it's actually kind of, I'm kind of interested to hear what they're going to say myself, because it's becoming more prevalent. You know, it's prevalent enough that it's actually begun to have its own diagnostic criteria. And I would say 30 years ago, you didn't even have any binge eating disorder. Now you've got all kinds of eating disorders, and that one is one that's popped up. Then we'll have child abuse and elder abuse, kind of focusing on what they are, but also what it does to the person. You know, what is it like to be abused? You had domestic abuse and violence in the humanities piece that kind of went in here, so that gave everybody a chance to experience that and talk about what they thought of that. So we'll kind of finish it out with children on one end and elderly on the other end, both dependent groups in a lot of ways that also can be abused by the folks in the middle. So that way we'll have children, you know, people, you know, adults that are not children or older than have older people. So that kind of gives us a perspective across the board. And when we finish up at 11 tomorrow, that's pretty much the content for what the test is, so that kind of gets things out of the way. And I'll have My goal is to have all the objectives posted tomorrow afternoon early, so that you kind of have everything to work with. So don't worry about stuff in post-its coming, work on the stuff you've got to work with. Then Friday morning is the SBIRT piece, which we will talk about today, so you'll be prepared for that. Then there's the midterm exam, and the SBIRT people will come in here after the midterm exam, and they have their own formal debrief for what you think, so again, just offer your opinion. It'll be helpful to them. And then we'll just have another session if there's any last lingering questions about what you need to know, how you need to know it, or just stuff. We kind of look at it. Hopefully it won't be some big mystery box by the end. Mostly it ought to be kind of understood what you have to know and how. And then we'll be done. So let's go back into the personality disorders. There's only 3 left. This is that cluster C that really has to do, they're all kind of similar, kind of standoffish people, and it's an interesting group, and actually some people that you will see in practice. So let's look at avoidant personality disorder. Again, remember, all the personality disorders, one of the diagnostic criteria is that they're pervasive. It's not just a moment here, a week, and then they go back to some other way. This is the way they are. So it's pervasive. It's a pattern of social inhibition, okay? Social inhibition. Put them with somebody, somebody's, they are not with it. They're kind of in the background, the wallflowers. They have feelings of inadequacy. They're not good enough to be with other people, and it shows up in a lot of different ways. They are hypersensitive to criticism and negative evaluations. They don't want, it really just kills them. If you want to hurt an avoidant personality, just get all over them, and it'll sting. Again, it starts in early adulthood, adolescence, early adulthood, like all the personality disorders do. And you have to have 4 or more of the following. They are so afraid of criticism, disapproval, or rejection that they would rather not start a relationship in the first place. If they don't know that, let's say they're at dating age or early adult, and they see somebody they like, if they don't know that that person really will return their feelings, or that person is going to be, positive about them, they will probably never ever make the first move, and would probably just as soon end up being lonely than to risk it at all. They're unwilling, so therefore they avoid a lot of activities that are at work or interpersonal. They're unwilling to get involved with people unless they're certain of being liked. I guess they have kind of like if they had people who they could trust that were close, then maybe they would have folks asking, how this person, what they think about me, type thing. And I think we all do that to a certain extent. I don't think that anybody, unless you're a narcissist who's just so in love with themselves that you think everybody else loves you too, that there's always a little bit of anxiety about returning, feelings in some kind of relationship, or even in a business relationship. What's that going to be like? But this is really to the disruptive level. They show restraint within intimate relationships because of fear of being shamed or ridiculed. If they even got married, would be one of those types of pretty people who might not do that, ever get married. Is preoccupied with being criticized or rejected in a social situation. They are inhibited in new in-person situations because of feelings of inadequacy. So they probably, even if they were not happy with what you did and it was somebody that they knew, they probably wouldn't say a lot back about it. They might just get quieter and more withdrawn, but they really wouldn't. They don't mix it up with people per se. If you just said something or did something that didn't work for them or they agreed with, they would be feeling so inadequate in the first place they wouldn't have enough strength to go out and engage it. They view themselves as socially inept, personally unappealing, or inferior to others. Okay, kind of a painful personality type, to deal with for the person themselves. Is unusually reluctant to take personal risk or to engage in any new activities because they may prove embarrassing. Okay, I think most of us kind of know. You can see people who are more inhibited socially, and probably we all know some folks who have avoidant personality disorder. I think, like I said, it's a little piece of being human, but this goes beyond that little piece of being human into being so disruptive that their life is actually kind of incomplete. They really don't experience life to the fullest for the fear of all the bad things that can happen. And like everybody else, get out there and mix it up, something's gonna happen. I mean, everything is not good all the time. So let's look at this one and see how it comes across.
The following statements are intended to raise awareness for a personality disorder known as avoidant personality disorder. So let's talk about some avoidant personality disorder facts. About 2.4% of the general population suffers from avoidant personality disorder. APD is characterized by a persuasive pattern of social inhibition, feelings of inadequacy, and hypersensitive to negative evaluation. Most individuals who meet the criteria of APD are described as extremely shy, fearful of disapproval, and social rejection. While most people have certain feelings of insecurities, for people with APD, these failures are extremely intense. Diagnosis is rarely made on individuals younger than 18 years old. 1 in 5 young adults suffer from a personality disorder. People suffering from APD are very anxious that they will react to criticism with blushing or crying. People with APD also tend to avoid relationships where they aren't 100% sure that they will not be rejected. They are so fearful of being rejected that they give no one an opportunity to reject them or to accept them either. Usually, people suffering from APD have few or no friends, although they yearn for an intimate relationship. They always feel lonely and depressed. They crave acceptance and affections from other people. If you or someone you love needs help, get help today. Avoidant personality disorder is treatable with therapy and it can be overcome. There are many different types of therapy available for avoidant personality disorder.
She made one point I didn't make, and I think it's actually a really good point, and that is the painfulness is that they actually want to have relationships. So this whole thing about being afraid to engage with somebody, that's true. It's extreme, but they also want to have relationships. So if you wanted to, but you were so afraid of what they would say that you did not, then that kind of creates an inside anxiety that's kind of difficult to deal with. She said 2.4%, that's what DSM-5 says. It's equally frequent in men and women, so this is not really gender-based. Starts in childhood with shyness, isolation, and fear of strangers and new situations. So when you see little children that kind of cling, that's not that unusual, but if it continues as they grow and they get familiar with surroundings, then that might be the beginning of that, for them. I wouldn't say avoidant personality is just extreme shyness. I mean, it is that, but that's not really a terminology that you use to describe somebody. Yes, they are shy, but it's not just being shy. It's a fear of things. And it's much more than being shy. It's choices and behaviors that all keep away from being hurt. So that's not really shy. It's avoiding. It's an avoidant personality. Hypersensitive in many ways. Okay, so how are you supposed to interact with the patient with avoidant personality? Carefully. That's the best thing I can say. Be careful, because they're listening to everything you say, and they're watching your body language, your face, and everything. So if your body language, face, or appearance gives any sense of being irritated, annoyed, or kind of wanting to speed along with what you're doing because you're busy, they would receive that as one more rejection, so they probably wouldn't come back to see you. You don't really know why folks don't come back to see you sometimes, but it could be because of personality disorders and then how that interacted with you at the time. And that'll happen. I mean, you'll end up off-putting somebody. I mean, I don't know anybody who hasn't done that, just as a matter of routine in practice. But don't always be, blaming yourself. Sometimes it's just what happens when people get together and their personalities and the moment does not fit or work so well. You have to have a lot of patience and understanding. Medical illnesses may be embarrassing to them, especially if you have to, if they're more sensitive type illnesses, they get embarrassed by having illnesses and having to be questioned and looked at, and et cetera. You want to minimize new and unfamiliar staff contacts. That makes it easier for them. If they kind of know everybody and everybody's for them, they do better with that. If you keep bringing all kinds of folks at them, then they may not want to go to that environment. They'll probably go to a smaller practice where it's always the same people. If you go to like a resident-driven clinic or something like that, that's probably hard for them. You want to respond with a calm and reassuring demeanor, and do not criticize. You just have to be very careful about that. And you probably won't know you have an avoidant personality per se until you get an extreme response or something. And then you'll have to question yourself, about what's going on. Any questions about that one? Okay. Let's look at dependent. You're going to get a lot of these, and you'll understand why in a second. I think that I can name a bunch of them that I've had in practice, and you'll see when we go through personality disorder why. Saying, I need you so much closer. Very clingy people, very needy. Okay, a pervasive and excessive need to be taken care of. Okay, healthcare providers, we provide care, so they need the care, need to be taken care of, and that leads to submissive and clinging behavior and fears of separation. These are the folks who call you, they leave notes, they need to come see you, I'm in trouble, can you come talk to you, blah, 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 blah. Okay, don't be mean to them, but honestly, they can get on your nerves. I mean, if you got a lot of stuff to do and you have a dependent personality disorder person, woo. Okay, 5 or more of the following, and this is good when you look at what they are. If you have 5 of these, that would be painful. Difficulty making everyday decisions without an excessive amount of advice and reassurance from others. Should I go over? Should I go to so-and-so's house? Should I? Well, what do you think? Well, it's that kind of thing, like, go on here. Need others to assume responsibility for most major areas of his or her life. They cannot decide the big things. They have to have somebody else help them decide the big things. Now, y'all are all independents, and y'all are self-determining. Y'all are at the peak of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Y'all are into self-actualization. You're not dependent personality, so your personality is already just so completely the opposite of what theirs is that healthcare providers have to watch out. Okay. Have difficulty expressing disagreement with others because of their fear of loss of support or approval. If somebody's been helpful to help them make decisions, they are not going to want that person to be cast aside in a hurry. They really collect helpers and they cling to them because that's how they get by in life. If the apocalypse happened and we all disappeared and became walking dead, they would not function. They'd be eaten early because they would not have the strong people to say, look, we got to get out of this house. We're going over here. We're doing that. Are y'all Walking Dead fans? Hey, don't get me going. Dr. Latassi would watch The Walking Dead. I tried to get her, I gotta tell you this funny. I tried to get her into it because I told her it was really good, and so I should have known it wasn't gonna work. I finally got her to watch the season that they were in Terminus. And you remember the Terminus was the cannibals that ate people? Well, it was the opening scene where all of our favorite characters had been captured. They had them lined up over a trough to cut them and bleed them. And she came in the room and I said, this is the beginning of the season. It started with that scene. I said, get out of the room right now. You're never going to be able to do this. And she said, what? And I said, don't even ask me what happened. I said, this is gross for me. But I said, you keep me in here. So she had to do it. So I didn't even try to since then. Fear of the Walking Dead, no. It's like, she doesn't get it. It's like, why do you want to watch zombies? I said, it's not the zombies, it's the people. They're crazy. Okay. All right, so back from the apocalypse and our dependent personalities who were probably all eaten early. Okay, have difficulty expressing disagreement with others because of their fear of losing that support. They have difficulty initiating projects or getting things done on their own because of the lack of self-confidence and judgment or abilities rather than a lack of motivation or energy. They might have a desire to do something, but they just won't feel like they have all the wherewithal to pull it off, so they don't start things so much. They go to excessive lengths to obtain nurturance and support from others to the point of volunteering to do things that are unpleasant. They'll do things for you if they think you'll stay with them and help them decide something. They'll just do what their heroes are doing so they still have them. They feel uncomfortable or helpless when alone because of exaggerated fear of being unable to care for themselves. They urgently seek another relationship as a source of care if they have to replace it. If one is gone, somebody moves, they will have to work to collect another helper, supporter type person. They are unrealistically preoccupied with fears of being left to take care of themselves. It's painful. This little clip, this is what it's like to have a dependent personality, and I know you're going to recognize the type as soon as you see it. Just watch.
Jerry, I don't know what to do. No, serious, I don't know what to do. Well, there are two outfits here. One's red. One's kind of, kind of olive green. I'm not sure exactly which one I should get. Why don't you come, I'm at the mall, I'm at the shop. I'm at I'm in JCPenney. Yeah. Just come to the women's section and then just tell me which set looks better on me, okay? Okay, because I don't know exactly what to do. They both look good, but I can't afford both. Okay. All right, hurry, because it's, yeah, okay. All right, thanks, bye.
Lord, how painful was that? Josh is like, pick the red one, damn it. Oh, gosh. Okay, y'all know people like this, don't you? You know, don't name names, don't tell y'all, you know, but you know this. First now, 0.4 to 0.1% is probably going to go down as we kill them. Maybe more common in women than men, but all do not agree. In fact, I think this is kind of a biased assessment. With some of these, when you, as I said the other day, when you try to look at statistically how often do these things occur in the general population, how are you going to do these studies? I mean, some of these people don't want to admit to what they are, so how are you going to really know? So sometimes they just assess them through clinic populations, but that subselects a certain type of personality. If you were doing a looking for dependent personality disorder in a medical practice, you're going to find more because they need you. But in the real world, is it that much? So I really don't know, what they are. And most of the statistics are, I give them quasi. That's why I'm not asking you to memorize stuff, because I just want to give you some sense of what people think it is in population. But it clusters more in practices. And I think this thing about women more than men, I think that's a sex bias when they put the studies together, that women are more dependent. I don't think that's necessarily true. Most of them think that either it's not really related to a pattern. I think it's kind of a stereotypical view of women. They can't make their mind up. I think that's back to the days of, well, the little woman does blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's right. So that's why I put down all don't disagree. Okay, how do you interact with an avoidant personality disorder? You respect their feelings of attachment. You can't start trying to pull them off of their deciders or helpers. Be careful when encouraging a patient to change the dynamics of an abusive relationship. Sometimes a dependent person will stay with somebody who's not really good to them because they actually do help them make decisions, but then if they decide to get away from the abuse, then they're isolated. So, you'd have to really understand what their situation was, their whole world was, before you started trying to advise, well, you need to get away from this person. Okay, now where are you going to go? How are they going to function? So, be careful. When medically ill, they may become frustrated that they're not being helped. They call a lot. I need this. When symptoms are popping up all over the place, or they have treatments to decide on, they will find you. Be active in the treatment planning. Okay, you gotta get them engaged, you gotta figure out what they can do, even though it does take a lot of time. I mean, it takes time to work through this patient population. Okay, now the last one. Obsessive compulsive personality disorder. It's different than obsessive compulsive disorder. That's one thing. You know what that was characterized by. They had either obsessions or compulsions, and they might be aware that it was a problem, but they couldn't stop it. So they couldn't deal with it. These people don't think it's necessarily a problem what they want to do. They're right and you're wrong, and they will tell it to you. Okay. So here's this pattern. The names are the same, they're not the same. A pervasive pattern of preoccupation with orderliness, perfectionism, and mental and interpersonal control. These people, I know how it's supposed to be, just don't move stuff around. Listen to what I'm saying. We need to do it this way every time. It's a behavior. It's not so much touch the doorknob 3 times. It's that I need to do my work. We need to write in Arial 12-point font. And when you get a memo that's not in that, well, we need to be, this is why. And they'll have a reason why. And if you can't do that, that's a problem. That's not touching the doorknob 3 times, but it is a focus on something that has to be done a certain way. For their reason, orderliness, perfectionism, and then control. 4 more of the following. Preoccupied with details, rules, lists, order, organization of schedules to the extent that the major point of activity is lost. They're all into how, not what, sometimes. Shows perfectionism that interferes with task completion, that is unable to complete a project because his or her own overly strict standards are not met. Okay? Sometimes, like people writing papers, if they can't write a perfect paper, they write. They can't finish it because it doesn't sound quite right, and they go all over. He's like, please, just turn it in. An A- is okay. It just doesn't matter. To them, it matters big time. They're excessively devoted to work and productivity to the exclusion of leisure activities and friendships. Got to do the important things right and a lot of energy on it. Over-conscientious, scrupulous, and inflexible about matters of morality, ethics, or values. Now, that can get on people's nerves because that tends to be comes across very judgmental. Here's how we behave. Here's what the worth of this situation is. This social issue is this, and this is the way it ought to be. And if you can't get with that program, then they will let you know about it. Is unable to discard worn out or worthless objects even when they have no sentimental value. I can throw stuff out in a hurry. I have no problem turning loose and stuff. But some people really can't. It's just a matter of the orderliness of things, and it's used up. Okay, no, has a place here. They're reluctant to delegate tasks or to work with others unless they submit to exactly his or her own way of doing things. They tend to do it themselves because they do it better. And I would delegate. I'd be happy to let you help me, but I just know you're not going to do it the right way, so I can't work with you. I can't have help. So they won't do help, get some behind sometimes, but what they turn out is really good stuff. It's just that they don't work well on teams because they have to have it their way. If you're ever on a team with an obsessive compulsive personality disorder, you all want to plot to shoot them somewhere because they're just not fun to work with. I mean, they can be bothersome. They adopt miserly spending style towards self and others. Money is viewed as something to be hoarded for future catastrophes. Okay? And then they show rigidity and stubbornness even. All right, watch this one. I'm going to have to roll ahead on it. You'll recognize this one.
If you write anything on your computer, you need to get Grammarly.
I write pretty much all day. How's the game going? Hey, what happened to the apartment?
Could give him the good housekeeping seal of approval, deal of touch.
Hey, all right.
Everybody in? Great place.
Cold glass of beer for Roy.
Thank you.
Where's your coaster?
My what?
The coaster, a little round thing that goes under the glass.
I think I better.
Here, I knew I was winning too much,
Always try to use the coasters, huh, fellas? Scotch, a little bit of water.
Scotch and a little bit of water, and I have my toast.
I don't want to be a pest, but you know what white glasses do.
They leave little rings on the table.
Little rings on the table.
And we don't want little rings on the table.
And we have a nice warm sandwich for Vinny. Ah, gee, it smells good. What is it? Lettuce and tomato with mayonnaise on pumpernickel toast.
You mean you just made it?
1, 2, 3.
You put in toast and cooked bacon just for me?
Don't like it, it'll make your meatloaf. Takes them 5 minutes.
You know I love it. Eat over the dish and just vacuum the rug.
Good.
Hey, Oscar, what did you want?
2 3.5-minute eggs and some petit fours.
Wait, oh, double gin and tonic, right? With the Who turned off the dehumidifier?
What?
The dehumidifier. Fellas, I asked you, don't play with this thing, huh? I'm trying to get some of the grime out of the air.
Oh my gosh, poor thing. Okay, he's got a bunch of them right there. Okay. 2.1 to 7.9%, so says DMC5, DSM5. Twice as common in men as in women. Okay, that's kind of, I thought that was kind of interesting because I'm just going to be a sexist and think that women put stuff down. I'm just tickled. I got to story today. Okay. No, I can see that. I know more men who have been obsessive compulsive than women, to tell you the truth, in how they work. So how do you interact with a patient with obsessive compulsive disorder? Give precise and rational explanations. Value efficiency and punctuality. And you better hope on those explanations of number one that they haven't read something that you haven't read, because they will correct you and tell you that current research shows this. And that is going to drive y'all crazy, because I'll tell you, always look at the newspaper before I went into work, because if something was in the Daily Oklahoman, somebody has read that, and they're going to come argue with you or tell you about stuff or wonder, why aren't y'all doing this? And so you have to try to stay on top of it. An obsessive compulsive personality disorder would know that stuff, and they would argue with you. Value efficiency and punctuality. Do not make them wait. If they are waiting, when they come sit down, they will be. Or they go to the front desk and say, reschedule me, walk out, yes. Come back the next time and tell you, I was late last time, are y'all going to be on time this time? See you later. But they can do that. Medical illnesses create a disruption in the patient's work, orderly lifestyle, and sense of control. So you have to know that. Don't ask them to do too many things that throw the order out, even if it's life important. Who knows? Acknowledge the importance of work, but point out how avoiding treatment may have harmful consequences, because these type of people won't necessarily do everything you say, because it gets into the way of the processes that they have to go through that need to be done for altogether very good reasons. And they may not perceive that yours is altogether good reason. Okay. Allow the patient to control his or her care as much as possible. What would you like to do? Give them a list of things to choose from. Let them pick. It's good. In fact, create choices when it's pretty much the same thing, just so they're choosing. They're in charge. They're in control. They're picking things off the list. Provide them with information. Avoid power struggles. You will not win. Even if you win, you lose. You're not going to win. So just don't worry about it. And that'll be true for any patient you see. You can try to argue with people, but honestly, when you find yourself starting to go back and forth, just stop. You just have to learn not to do that, because it generally is not going to go anywhere. You'll end up losing. Understand their need for order and control. So give them ways to have order and control, and they'll like it. Okay. So what can you do with personality disorders besides avoid them? not always true. I put this little chart here because this is cognitive behavioral therapy in a nut, because that's pretty much what you're looking for. Thoughts create feelings. They have disordered thinking about things. Those thoughts create feelings, which create behavior. The behavior creates thoughts, and then it goes back again. So it's a constant cycle of how they think about things, which is how they feel about things, which is then what they do, which then satisfy their thoughts about how stuff should go. So they just cycle it repetitively until you can help them reframe thinking. So that's why cognitive behavioral therapy is so important with this type of population. They are considered untreatable in general. Clinicians should focus on retaining patient-clinician relationships despite social roadblocks for the personality disorder. That's why I've given you little ways to think about how to work with them, because that's probably more helpful. Identifying and knowing how to respond is better than overly concerning yourself with how to fix them. Okay, it's not that helpful. And honestly, with a lot of them, they lack insight to what's wrong with them. So if you're saying you need cognitive behavioral therapy, unless they perceive that the world's messed up enough in your life, they don't want to go anywhere. So I mean, what are you going to do? If you don't want to go be treated, you don't think there's anything wrong with you, and you're just hammering away that you need to be fixed, they're going to find somebody else. So I don't know that a lot of them are going to go get help anyway. But cognitive behavioral therapy can be useful with several of them. Borderline personality is one. It is appropriate to use pharmacotherapy to treat other symptoms they might have, like if they have a personality disorder and they have anxiety, if they have a personality disorder and they have depression. These are usually comorbid with other presentations. And then if that presentation is of a nature that could require pharmacotherapy, then you can do that. You're treating that aspect, that other diagnosis, not the personality disorder per se. Okay. Here's some, let's see if you can pick them off the list, what they are. 38-year-old man asked his doctor to refer him to a physician who attended a top-rated medical school. He says he knows the doctor will not be offended because she understands that he is better than her other patients. Which of the following disorders best fits this picture? The narcissists. They're very special and unique, and they deserve special and unique people to take care of them because they are special. Okay. All right. 20-year-old female college student tells the doctor that because she was afraid to be alone, she tried to commit suicide after a man with whom she had 2 days did not call her again. After the interview, she tells him that all the other doctors she has seen were terrible and that he's the only doctor who has ever understood her problems. Which of the following disorders best fits this picture? D. Dependent personality. No. Who, Mercy? Right. Another one. 35-year-old man comes to the physician's office dressed all in bright yellow. You already know what this is, without going too much further. He reports that his mild earache felt like a knife in his ear, extreme symptom, and says he feels so hot that he must be dying. These folks are always dying. His behavior is most closely associated with which of the following personality disorders? C, histrionic. That's true. Okay. I'm going to let y'all watch this on your own. There's a little video clip I found that was really kind of cute. They put it together as a review for medical boards. And so it goes through all 10 personality disorders very quickly, makes some interesting distinguishing comments. They don't pronounce everything correctly, so there's actually a little editor on the video that says, you know, they put the pronunciation out in phonetics. This person calls schizoid schizoid. It's not schizoid, it's schizoid, schizotypal. But he says some really odd things. So besides that, it's really a pretty good little thing to run through. So once you've done it all, it'll help you kind of lock it down in your brain. Okay. Any questions about these at all? Okay. Do y'all need to get up and move a little bit? Why don't y'all move a little bit? Let's just take 10 and we'll come back at 10 till 2 and just kind of move. So let's move, we'll have a break.